Welcome to Do You Know Ball? Listen, this is a new YouTube show that I have started just to talk about sports around the world. We're talking about basketball here, we're talking about football, baseball, even sprinkling in a little bit of WWE. We're going to talk about everything. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on the NBA. Recently, we just concluded All-Star Weekend, and the whole conception of All-Star Weekend as a whole was that it was kind of a W. And I say kind of because there was one event in particular, and it was straight up trash. We're talking about the NBA dunk contest. It's not any shocking news. The dunk contest has been severely underwhelming. So today, I'm putting myself in Adam Silver's shoes, and this is how I will save the NBA dunk contest. First and foremost, how was the dunk contest successful in the first place? If you looked at the history of the dunk contest, they incorporated young stars, young rising stars, and I'm really emphasizing young stars aspect, right? When you look at Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, even had Blake Griffin, number one overall picks, they were all young. They were between the ages of 18 to 23, even at 25 in some cases. Dominique Wilkins, I believe, was 25. Incorporate the young stars who got a pop to their name. Listen, they say LeBron ruined it. I don't think LeBron ruined it. And it got to a certain point where LeBron kind of aged out of it. When I look at the dunk contest, I look at the dunk contest as for the young guys to pop off and make a name for themselves, right? We had Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon. They were young stars on smaller market teams. And when they put on the greatest dunk contest, in my opinion, they put on a show, and that's how they got their names out. They were young stars. Vince Carter, who was looked at the greatest dunk contest of all time. Vince Carter was only 23 years old in that dunk contest. Steve Francis was 23 in that dunk contest. T-Mac was 20 years old in that dunk contest. I'm Adam Silver. I am sending out invitations to the young stars who I know have a little bit of a name to themselves, and they will pop off and bring back the hype because the dunk contest, listen, I know the expectations are very low. Yeah, I always tune in because that was my favorite thing growing up was the dunk contest. So how can we even get these young stars to even participate? I mean, a lot of them don't want to be embarrassed. Shout out to my boy Jace Richardson, but he almost got a concussion, all right? Nobody wants to be in that predicament. So just like how they did it with the in-season tournament, money, incentivize the young guys to come and join. Listen, if you win, straight up $500,000 to the winner. You go home with a little bit of cheese. Another thing that grinds my gears when it comes to this, listen, if I'm Adam Silver and I see on Twitter and I see a young star player or a star player announces that they're going to be in a dunk contest and then they decline to do it the next year, no, if you announce it on Twitter, it is mandatory that you join. We're tired of building false hope for the fan bases, for the fans around the world. If you type on Twitter, I'm doing a dunk contest, guess what? You're going to be in a dunk contest. Okay, we're tired of having our hopes up and being let down. Stop doing that, NBA players. And I know that's kind of, extreme. And I'll say that would be the extreme side because, anybody could tweet and anybody could put an opinion out there. There's no way really to force them and make it mandatory. That's like my extreme solution. But definitely put a cash incentive, $500,000 on the line for the 4 contestants. This all goes back to All-Star Weekend in general when it comes to the All-Star game where players put in effort, when people show up and actually participate in these events. Damian Lillard, if you've never seen his interview, when the reporter asked him, why did he feel the need to come back and participate in the three-point contest with a torn Achilles? He hit it right on the head. The stars have the responsibility to put on a show for the fans. Without the fans, they wouldn't be getting paid millions and millions of dollars. This is their way of saying thank you. It's their responsibility to put on a show, and I really emphasize that. Once you're in the NBA, you have a responsibility to do that, right? With that being said, this will be my dream dunk contest for 2027 All-Star in Phoenix. Number 1, we're starting with Ja Morant, and I'm gonna bundle it up with Zion Williamson. All right, I don't even know how we never even got a dunk contest with them in the past. I mean, obviously they had injuries and whatnot, but man, listen, if they're both healthy, 2027 Phoenix, I need those two to be in there. Mandatory. They'll put on a great show. I remember in the Rising Stars game, Ja Morant throwing self lobs behind the back, Zion doing between the leg, East Base, 360 East. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're phenomenal. They will be amazing. And it'll definitely bring that star power to it. People would definitely tune in with just them two going head to head with one another in general. Number three, we definitely got to bring back my boy Mac. Listen, Mac McClung, you got to bring him back. There's been dunks that he hasn't done in a dunk contest yet that I seen him do, his little Instagrams and stuff. It's like, bro, you have to do it. These are dunks that you're doing that professional dunkers are doing. And I know he posted after the dunk contest this year, kind of, diminishing it even more about the dunks that he would have done. And they were insane. They were the dunks that I wanted him to incorporate in last year's dunk contest. We have to bring back Mac. Ja, Zion, and Mac, just those three alone, that'll be must-watch TV. And number four, my do you know ball pick, Shaedon Sharpe of the Portland Trailblazers. I don't know how he hasn't even been in it. I know he declined it, saying that he wanted to focus on the rest of the season. I believe it was 2 years ago, and the Blazers weren't even on anything. They were terrible. They were a tanky team. So I didn't know what he was focused on back then. But listen, Shaedon Sharpe, if you haven't seen Shaedon Sharpe jumps out the gym. It's not even a do you know ball pick. He's not even an underrated guy. Listen, if you watch the Portland Trailblazers, you know who Shaedon Sharpe is. He jumps out the gym. He jumps like he's on a trampoline. I don't know why Shaedon Sharpe hasn't been in it. I'm making him mandatory to join it next year. I need Shaedon Sharpe in there. But yeah, those are my dream dunk contest contestants. I do also have a more realistic dunk contest contestants. At the end of the day, we know it's Ja, Zion, Health, we don't really know with them. I will kind of look at it. This is a more realistic approach as to who I would pick to be in it if obviously I couldn't get those two big stars in it. I'm still having Shaedon Sharpe in there. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if Shaedon Sharpe even tweets out to me or he tells Adam Silver himself. He's doing it. Shaedon Sharpe is going to be in his dunk contest. I really want him to be in there because genuinely I believe he will put on one of the best performances, and I'm not even overhyping him. If you see how he dunks the ball, throw in Bronny. We can throw in Bronny if you want a James in there. Put in Bronny. I'm surprised Bronny didn't do it this year. Nonetheless, Shaedon Sharpe, you will be in this dunk contest. Number two, we're still bringing back Mac. Okay, Mac brings star value to the dunk contest. The rookie who popped off this year, who declined the dunk contest this year, unfortunately, VJ the Generator Edgecombe. We need VJ in there. Like I say, he's a young rookie who's popping off on the scene. A lot of people know him. We need VJ in there, and he could jump out the gym. And number four, oftentimes we have these young players out of nowhere, like Mac. Mac came out of nowhere. People didn't know who Mac was. He was grinding out in the G League. We had Derrick Jones Jr. He was grinding it out in the G League, made a name for himself in a dunk contest, popped off. He got paid. He's a great role player. But my true do you know ball pick, and I honestly believe if he won 2027 dunk contest, he would actually win. He will be my pick, JD Davison. If you don't know who JD Davison is, go on TikTok, look up JD Davison high school dunk. He has done some outrageous dunk. I would love to see him in the dunk contest. Been a G League guy with the Celtics. He's been making his name. He's been grinding. He'll get that pop off publicity in the dunk contest, make himself a household name. But listen, JD Davison, he will be my number one. I could see him beat Mac. He does crazy dunk, and I would love to see him pop off in there. With that being said, that is how I will save the dunk contest. If I'm Adam Silver, I pray that, some of these things go in fruition. I really hope the incentivization of $100,000 will go into effect, because I really think that'll bring a lot more people to do this. And overall, man, like Dame said, it is the stars, the NBA players' responsibility to put on a show for us. That being said, thanks. Peace. Go Magic.